to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of The Rational Investor. This is Julian reporting in from the dystopian future. It's been a wonky week for sure. I mean, the market has just been up and down. Like, what does Brian like to say? Does anybody know? I can't say it. I feel like I can't say it on YouTube. It's a public show. If it was the private show, maybe I could say it, but public show, I'm a little bit, I don't think I could say it. But the market's been a mess. It's absolute disaster. I think if you've been trading it, obviously, you know, it seems like it just does not want to leave this zone between 4,000 and 4,200. And it's just washing people out and putting in, I think, a distributive top. I've talked about it multiple times. There is the possibility we can go slightly higher, but to me, everything points to that this is a distribution. Okay, so you don't want to see my face. You want to see the charts. You want to look at the news. I'm going to shrink myself down. We're going to do our 30-minute show, and then we'll jump into the after party after, where I answer every single question you have if you're a TRI member. All right, let me shrink myself. Okay, right here. And we go small. Okay, and we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to fix my display capture because it's not capturing my screen. Okay, there we go. Let me just hold on one second, guys. All right, so we should be good. Yeah. And let me pull up YouTube so I can make sure to answer your questions. It's important that you guys ask any questions you have while I'm going through the different markets, and then I can answer them. We just don't do any particular like stock requests, I guess, until the after party. But I do answer general questions. Also, it is, I believe, Brian's birthday today. So happy birthday to Brian. He's not on here, but it's his birthday today. So if you're on the site, wish Brian happy birthday, if it was not already mentioned. Okay, let's get into the news. What is going on here? So today we had the core PPIs come out, right? And they came in basically in line. Unemployment came in a little bit high, which created a mixed signal. So we've got inflation kind of coming down, but meanwhile, we've got unemployment claims going up. And if unemployment claims skyrocket, that's when you run into big issues, right? Unemployment is historically very well correlated with big drops in the market. So that's something, you know, I've been waiting for. I've been watching for what is going on with unemployment. What is going on with unemployment? That's what I want to see to finally think that, okay, we could now, maybe it's time to finally turn down. And believe it or not, when the Fed actually pivots, that's also when we drop even lower. And it's not till after the pivot that we then bottom, after maybe a couple rate changes, that we then bottom, and then we reverse and we put in the bottom, and then we head higher. It takes time. But when inflation is still going up and the Fed is fighting the inflation and raising the rates, that's actually the time before the crash. So it's important to pay attention to these metrics and kind of keep track and look at what has happened before in history to decide what you're going to do yourself. Okay, let's see. We got 15 people in here. Thank you, everybody. Let's go to the dashboard. Let me do a refresh, make sure we have the latest one. We've also got, while that's loading, we can look at the options market. You know, I always talk about max pain for the week. It seems like max pain is probably somewhere around 4112 to 4160. So I would say between 4100 and 4160. Probably 4120 is the ultimate max pain. Maybe 4130. You can see they can destroy a lot of calls, but maybe it might even be more here. 4100. There's a lot of calls here. Let's see what the breadth is saying really quick. So the breadth is still pointing lower on the S&P. Well, it's been pretty back and forth. Bitcoin, crypto top 30, ironically, is pointing higher. That's a surprise, considering if we go to the Bitcoin chart, right? Let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin looks like, it looks pretty bad to me. I mean, this does not look like a super healthy chart. This was my breakdown short signal that I posted about in my trading room right here. And you can see, if I make my screen bigger, this is what I predicted would happen when I drew this back sometime around the end of April. So it's been about a month. And we did not exactly what I expected, but very similar. We headed lower, we bounced, then we headed lower again, and then we bounced, and now we're falling off the cliff. That's basically what's happening. We have this big parallel channel that's been the uptrend since basically January of this year. RSI is finally breaking down. This is extremely bearish for me. This was right here. This candle was the confirmation to essentially go short. And you could have shorted somewhere in this 2800 area. I like to short on a daily around the 50 EMA. Now we're on the other side of the trend. And for me, this is like basically a downtrend. Everything in RSI is red except for the weekly. If we go to the weekly, you can see even the weekly is turned down, right? So if I draw an RSI like this is a extreme breakdown. And on the weekly, and I've talked about this a couple times, on the weekly in particular, your short signal was here, right here. This was your short signal around 2,900, 30,000 area. And ironically, this area is where TRI, at least the portfolio that I manage, completely exited the crypto market. We got out around 30,000 Bitcoin, and I haven't bought a single piece of crypto since then. I've just been sitting completely in cash. The portfolio I trade for TRI is a long-only portfolio. There's no shorting, there's no leverage. It's just spot. And it's enough considering the size of the portfolio. So that's been the TRI stance, or at least my particular stance in the portfolio I manage. And I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see what happens with this. How far do we really go? This is our first stop down here. This is going to be your big resistance level. We're down below all of this. So we're lower than anything since March 17th. And we're at a major resistance level, which has provided room for bounces in the past. So this is an area I'm very interested in. We probably might go lower, squeeze down into here, 2,500 area. This is where you're going to get your major support. And then we see what's going to happen. And you can also see this original M top up here on lower time frames. Chaos points to 2,500. But if we look at here and we say this is your M top, right? Because this is I think this is a pretty well defined M right here, right? Like this. All right, and there's your confirmation. So that's your M, and this M points to a 4.669 of 20,700. Oh, that would cause a lot of pain to a lot of people, I think. I think there's a lot of traders that are just long and sitting long at this point and confident that we're in a brand new bull paradigm. And if we head lower to 20,000 area, they're gonna experience significant pain. But first hurdle is to hit that 25,000 area right here. That's what I expect. Daily chart is clear short for me. The 1 hour chart doesn't look great either. Any bounces I would consider short areas, like up to this 50 EMA. This 27,600 would have been a nice short. Any bounce from here would be a nice short. Just remember to follow your trading plan, and it should continue to head lower. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't here. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let me go back to the S&P. You guys know that I like to talk about S&P first usually. So here's our daily chart. We're kind of just sitting here in the VIP area on the RSI, and also we have this major downtrend line right here. So we're just sitting around this downtrend line, playing in this area. This is what I consider like a no man's zone. When RSI is sitting in the VIP line, I consider it the market is undecided about what direction it's going to go, and momentum indicators like RSI become almost useless. It's almost useless, and you have to just sit and wait to see which way the market's going to break. And that's why looking at things like what's being reported by PPI, CPI, unemployment claims, that kind of stuff becomes semi-important. Let's go to a lower time frame. You have to look at lower time frames, but this is just a range, so you have to play it like a range. So you short above 4150 and you long below 4100 area. You know, that's worked very well on both sides for the past over a month and a week. Question is, which direction are we going to break in? I mean, one day it looks like we're going to break to the downside. The next day it looks like we're going to break to the upside. I think it's a coin toss at this point. It really is. Do I see us going significantly higher in these current conditions? No. However, there's no reason why we couldn't do something like this. Right? So there's this. And then we do this like this. And we head up to 42.50. Or we could even go up to this 43.50 area. We take out the highs from August. We take those out. That would probably screw over a ton of people. Take those out and then head lower. But it all depends on what happens in this range. We've got to break one way or the other. So obviously break above 4,200, you're probably going to go to 43. Break down, break below 40.50, you're probably going to go lower. Which I know you guys don't want to hear, because that's like what so many traders say. Like, okay, if we head higher here, you can go long. If you head lower here from this level, you can go short. But then by then already 60% of the move is over and you missed it. So you want to trade. The only way to trade this professionally is to trade this like a range, where you short at the top, okay, and you long at the bottom. Once the range breaks either way, you have a tight stop loss, and hopefully from trading this range, you made enough profits to make up for that stop loss and more. You should have made profits even if you got stopped out and you were on the wrong side. But, you know, the positive is, what if you short at the top and we head lower and we break down? We break down and then you're in a very, very, very low risk trade, because you can move your stop to break even and you can ride it lower. So there's that. That's kind of how I would trade this range. But if you use momentum indicators, in my opinion, they're almost worthless when they basically flatline like this, which is what's happening. When RSI is just sitting around the 55 level, it's not really a super useful indicator. Oh, sorry guys. Just keep in mind it's 11:20 at night for me. Not too late, but it's getting there. So here's a 4 hour, still nothing on the 4 hour, right? So something like this, it's not really that good. Let's look at some other stocks to kind of give us an idea of what could potentially be happening. Like look at Boeing, right? So let's look at Boeing on like a 3-day chart. Boeing hasn't broken down yet. I want to see a breakdown on this 3-day to get bearish on something like Boeing. So no breakdown on Boeing. That's a positive. Okay, what about something like Goldman Sachs? Goldman Sachs does not look so great. This would be my uptrend line, where it had a fake out and then a reversal. Let's look at a weekly chart. Yeah, and the weekly RSI also looks like crap. So you had a breakdown, a tag, and then this would have been the short. Goldman Sachs in a way is almost pointing lower. This could be your ABCD, right? So like this. And we could head down to 250. Potential target for Goldman Sachs. Not a fantastic setup, but not a terrible one. It definitely doesn't look good for Goldman Sachs. Let's look at something, you guys know I always look at NVIDIA. Take a look at NVIDIA really quick. NVIDIA, it seems like it's been trying to top out forever. I'm waiting for this 3-day chart to break down. We need to get a breakdown on RSI on this 3-day chart before I can consider any kind of shorts. It's just been straight up, basically. It's been nonstop, straight up. We need to see this breakdown on the 3-day. You can see the weekly is way overbought. This is just absurd. Another tech company, of course, Apple. Apple always is strong, looks strong. It does have a 9 on the Tom DeMark. The last time it came in, it completely reversed. Same here, 8, 9, and then it kind of sat up here for a month, and then it just started dumping. This time it didn't. It did head higher. This one, it did sharply reverse. So just keep in mind we do have an 8 and 9 here, and it could signal, we're reaching the top end of the move in the markets. Apple does control a big share of the market. So if Apple is moving, then the S&P is probably moving in a similar direction to Apple. What other companies could we look at that, are not? I'm trying to think of like maybe smaller things that won't be as directly impacted. What is a good one to look at? I know I normally don't take requests, but I'm open to looking at anything you guys want. I feel like I'm going through this really fast right now. I've only been on 15 minutes, and I feel like I talked about a lot. SoFi, 3M, SoFi Technologies. This is kind of a new stock. I'm I'm talking about something that I'm trying to talk about something that maybe affects the major indexes, but is not a particularly popular stock. That's what I'm trying to get at here. I can't even find 3M. I don't know why it won't come up. What is a good stock that's in the S&P that we can look at? I mean, we can look at JP Morgan, but it's not going to be. It's just another banker stock. It's definitely unclear. I mean, the daily is breaking down, right? So this is the daily chart. This is a breakdown. Here's your short level. So this is a short. You can see the lows were in October, so it did bounce with the rest of the market. This doesn't look great. Oh, McDonald's, that's a good one. Ironically, the person named Coke suggested McDonald's. I love it. Yeah, so look at McDonald's. Look at this daily chart. Let's go to a weekly. The weekly did break out. It's topping out with this 8 and 9. Amazing how it just keeps running higher, McDonald's. The only time it had the big crash was back in here, 2020. It's a different Coke I like. We can't talk about that on the daily brief. Just going through the time frames. It doesn't look fantastic on a 4-hour chart, but I don't see anything disastrous yet on these higher time frames. But I would be cautious. You can't buy up here, that's for sure. Could you consider some shorts with tight stops? Yeah, I don't see why not. You could consider. I mean, if this makes a little bit of an M, right, you can go right down there, 275, and then eventually 255. That's a reasonable expectation in my opinion. Not looking great on McDonald's. We can look at Coca-Cola. 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 Overbought. It doesn't. I'm not getting anything from this weekly chart. This doesn't look terrible. I'm thinking, is this the real stock? Am I looking at the right one? I've never looked up Coca-Cola before, actually. Yeah. Coca-Cola Company. This one, KO. That makes more sense. Okay. So on the weekly, again, on the weekly, an 8 and 9, 7, 8 coming in. Look at that. Last time it came in, topped out. Last time, okay, it also topped out. So something to keep in mind is the potential for a top out. And then if we go to a daily chart, you had a breakdown here, and then we have the secondary one that hasn't broken down, right? So we need to see this breakdown. You do have a 7 coming in on the daily. These are kind of certain things that are concerning to me, and there has not been a breakdown to the downside of the what I consider the trend heuristic channel. I like to see price under the trend heuristic channel to confirm my short bias. Yeah, nothing concrete from here. It does look like the market will probably sit until Friday and get pinned in this area. I'll be surprised if it's not pinned in this area. This is how market makers will maximize their profits. And there's no reason why they shouldn't do it here. Let's go back to the event calendar really quick. Forex Factory, and let's see what is coming out tomorrow and next week. So preliminary consumer sentiment, and then Empire State Manufacturing Index, and core retail sales and retail sales. I guess retail sales will give us some information. Like if retail's not buying, then that's not good. And then again, we're getting unemployment claims. So that'll be a mover on Thursday. It's not as much news next week. Just core retail sales is probably the big one. Yeah, so I guess Wednesday is going to be the next big day. Huh. Okay. Interesting. No, sorry. I'm sorry. I spoke incorrectly. I believe it's Tuesday, core retail sales. Core retail sales Tuesday. Yeah, the market's in waiting mode, but I'm not sure what exactly are they waiting for? What is the Maybe they were just waiting for, oh, we have, no, wait a second. Yeah, I think everything came out basically today. So they could be, it could be that we're just in waiting mode until all the options expire worthless. And then next week we get our move. That's a very real possibility. I kind of explained my reasoning for why I think we're going to head lower to the downside, but also why I feel like we're kind of in a no man's zone and it's very dangerous to trade here. Actually, when we're in these areas, I hate talking about the market. I hate it because I can't give like clear trades to you guys. I'm like, well, 50-50 shot either way. Good title, by the way. Thank you very much, Chris. TR Daily Brief. Crypto on edge as initial jobless claims rise. I like it. Okay. I think I can look at gold. You know, I like to look at DXY. Let's look at DXY really quick. How much time we got left? It's 20 minutes in, so I'll go through DXY, and then I think we'll do gold, and then I'll call it a day for the public show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. And then we'll head over to the after party to answer any specific questions about anything, particularly crypto. I will sleep in like an hour. It's just it's only 11:30 here. It's okay. All right, DXY. Our Coke. I should have known. Fell into the trap. All right, weekly chart of DXY. So you can see this is a big deal. This is something you need to be paying attention to. The weekly chart on the DXY, if we close up here or even a little bit higher, we're closing bullishly. We're reversing through this weekly downtrend and we're changing trends for the US dollar. And obviously that has major implications for the rest of the market, because if the US dollar is going up, everything else is probably going to go down. You can see on a 3-day chart it's turning, and on a daily chart, oh, again, sorry for the yawns. On a daily chart, we've had a breakout since a reversal signal since basically April 26th, and just been kind of waiting. And now we're heading higher, and we need to break above this center line. Yeah, it could be a nice, it's really nice W's. W, many W's. W here, second W here. It's a lot of W's. Now, as far as W's on price, you could even say that this is almost a W. So if that was the case, and we were conservative with our estimate, then we could say that the target is 106. Right above these previous highs. It looks extremely bullish to me. So that's what makes me pause with anything related to US dollars, as far as it potentially going up in the future. Okay, gold, speaking of things related to US dollars. Let's go to a weekly chart on gold. If it loads. Sorry, guys. Weekly chart. Come on. Load. All right, it's not loading. Let's load it on another tab here. Weekly chart. All right, so we did have a 9 that came in on the weekly. The rest of it, it's pretty bullish when the RSI is embedded up here. 3-day does look like it's slowly turning around, but the daily is still heading strong on this, creating this major divergence. And now the price is emming out on RSI, and the market should follow, and it should head down to the bottom of this parallel channel, which again, it's been following since November. If we use our chaos levels, right, we can go to a little bit lower time frame, and we can say this is your M, and we can estimate that your level might be somewhere around there. I think it's extreme. You could do a smaller M here, something like that, and then you've got right below these levels, and then right down here, I would say right below these levels makes sense into this area. Below 2000, wash everyone out, and then consider reversing higher, or maybe even go lower to this 1900. Really reverse everyone out, or push everyone out, and then reverse. Let me delete some of these lines. See if I can even go to a, delete. Yes, delete. Okay, let's go to a little bit lower time frame. You can see the 4 hours not looking great, right? But this can be erased within 20 minutes. If not, then it's a problem for sure. Okay, so that's gold. We looked at DXY. We looked at S&P 500. We looked at Bitcoin. I mean, those are all the major things. How much time we got left? We got 5 minutes left. Okay, in the last 5 minutes, I will take requests. Whatever you guys want to look at, we can take a look really quick before we jump into the after party. If there are no requests, I will talk about maybe I'll talk about a little bit of a option strategy that is good to use when the VIX is at certain levels. We can actually look at the VIX. I can pull the VIX up. VIX is very important. VIX. Not loading. Okay, let's look at it here. VIX. VIX. Yeah. So go to a daily 3-day chart. See the VIX is just sitting down here. This parallel channel keeps changing for some reason. Yeah, so you can see it's just barely hanging on. This uptrend, it's kind of set for itself since 2019. Creates a W, hence everything to. Sorry, there's a W, and then price moves higher. The VIX, it almost doubles. I think we're getting to that point again soon. And a great strategy when VIX is really low is to consider buying far out calls or puts, whatever direction you think the market is going to go in, because volatility is so suppressed, they're much cheaper. Meanwhile, when VIX spikes, what you want to do is you sell volatility. So you can sell as puts or calls. Don't recommend that. That's unlimited risk. But you could sell credit spreads. What they're called, credit spreads. And you can get credit for selling those. And as the VIX comes back down, the premium will come back down and you'll get paid. So it's a decent strategy as long as the position doesn't move against you too much. If it moves too much, you can maybe lose double what you were supposed to make. That's how it's set up. Buy NVIDIA short options. I would not touch NVIDIA. I'm not touching NVIDIA until this 3-day chart breaks down. Right, so I have my 3-day chart somewhere. I don't know why it's not showing. I see something. Where is it? 3-day. Okay. So there's your 3-day chart. I don't know why my line is not showing anymore. Okay, there you go. So until this breaks down, I don't want to touch NVIDIA. That's my reasoning. Hopefully it makes sense. Yeah, I would post about it if it happened. Of course, I would post about it in Discord. I have a little signal room. I haven't been updating as much lately because the market's doing nothing. So I don't really have any updates, but I do post. I have a kind of a signal room where I post my trades that I'm taking. Obviously, it's not people can do whatever they want. I'm just sharing what I'm personally doing. Usually I like to buy a couple months and then in the money options to avoid maximum premium decay. Sometimes I buy some out of the money if I think there's a very, very high potential of a big move, and then I can make a 3x, 4x. But I prefer to either sell credit spreads or buy in the money options. Palantir. Can you take a look at Palantir? Let me see what time it is. Maybe I'll do that in the after party. Okay, it's 29 minutes. So I think, we'll call it a day. If you're not part of TRI, definitely consider joining. You can sign up for the free trial if you want to. Every day, Monday to Friday, Brian or myself do public daily briefs for 30 minutes. But then we do after parties where we answer any question you want, talk to you about anything that you want to talk about for Brian usually goes like an hour and a half. I'll go 45 minutes to an hour every Thursday. But Brian's super intense. So if you want that, definitely consider joining. Plus access to our chat rooms and my trading signals and Brian's, not really signals, but what I'm doing in the market. I don't really like calling it signals. Then Brian's room also about what he's doing in the market. Very easy to follow along. And there's a free trial, of course. I'm just supposed to say these things, guys. Okay, so if I don't see you in the after party, have a great weekend, guys. And I will see you next week. All right, bye, everybody.